guys, I am back just hanging out, and I thought it would be good to let's just talk about what's in the news right now. I'm looking down at my phone because I have the article here. California passes Crown Act, becomes first state to ban natural hairstyle discrimination. Can you believe it? I am really surprised that this is even taking place. You know, people will say, well, it's just hair. And they are absolutely positively correct. It is just hair. And I wish it was just left as just hair. But isn't it odd and crazy in this day and time that people are being discriminated against because of the hair that grows out of their heads? My one job, corporate America, I had been working there for several years, and when I went back to natural, big chopped, I walked in with my nice afro, and I was in my 20s. If it was going to be negative energy about my hair, I wasn't going to receive it. I just didn't have sense enough to be concerned about it. And I walked through there, and I believe, yes, I was the only person with an afro at this company. Yes, absolutely. It didn't even, I didn't care. I could care less. I think shortly after, one other person big chopped, um, you know, and no one said anything. I saw looks, but no one said anything. Then years later, I went for another corporate position. And as I explained in one of my previous videos, I, insisted that I was going to wear the tightest afro that I could find. And I wanted it to be shrunk, unstretched, and just straight up. And I wound up getting the job, got in there. I was one of maybe 5 people with an afro. And at the time, I was wearing my afro puff, cornrows with beads, and twist outs. Afro puffs a lot. No one ever said anything. And this is a Fortune 500 company that I'm talking about. It wasn't even an issue, so much so people would be wearing different color wigs, turquoise, blue, pink, purple. Supervisors would have piercings, like the big piercings, I don't know what you call it. Tattoos. You had supervisors who were motorcyclists, like bikers, and so everyone was, it was okay for people to express who they were. This one supervisor, I think he had stock in manic panic because his hair would be blue one day, green another, purple the next. I think he was changing his hair every week, every other week, his hair color, and it would be shaved and all that. So, I just, and then again, this is a Fortune 500 company that I'm talking about. So I was blessed to not have to deal with that. But I don't know if behind the scenes somewhere I was looked over for, say, any type of promotion or anything like that because of my hair. I do remember sensing a little bit of discriminatory behavior from a higher up, but it was like the supervisor that I had at the time was very protective of that. So she basically nipped it in the bud on my behalf. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, thank you. Thank you. Good looking out. So I'm really surprised that right now it's gotten so deep. And just to tell you, I'm like I said, I was only one of maybe 5 people at this place. And then over the years, every time you turned the corner, there was an afro. There was an afro puff. There was, every time you turned the corner. And a lot of people were like, oh, I saw yours. And I was like, ooh, I want to try that. I want to go natural. And the whole place is probably natural. It's probably all natural by now. But it's just, I commend, the state of California for taking this step forward, but it's just such a shame. And so how do you guys feel about it? Have any of you been discriminated against because of your hair texture. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, I understand that a lot of companies are very corporate. So maybe hairstyles, certain hairstyles, like maybe they don't want you to wear, the temporary dye hair color like pinks and purples in your hair. Or maybe they don't want you to wear like super big hair. Maybe, they don't want you to have like, them real spiky mohawks and stuff like that. Okay. But if we're talking about the texture of people's hair, and then you have people who might have locks, you don't know what their religion is, or you don't know anything about any of that. So it's like, they try to hide behind the fact that it's not professional, but really you're just discriminating. I mean, it's somebody's I mean, I don't understand how some companies or some people don't just understand that it's how a person was born. But on the flip side, I think they know, and they're just hiding behind that. And so it's good that, some kind of legislation has come out. It's a shame that it even, we have to spend time on this. Wouldn't we rather just spend time talking about how to style and care for our hair versus having to, fight to wear it to work? Like, and I've heard people, I've read on in Facebook groups where people are saying, well, I'm not sure. I have to wear these wigs. I have to, and I'm thinking, how is that living? How can you actually live that way? And I even, back when I was interviewing and stuff, I was saying, if that is ever an issue, I will never change my hair. I will just keep looking for what's right for me, for a job that's right for me. There's no way that I'm going to live my life knowing that when you work a 9 to 5 or any job, that's going to help you make a real living so that you can make ends meet, you're going to be there longer than you are at home. So that means that's a big part of your life, you not living as your true self, you conforming to what others want you to be. And that's just unfair. Life isn't fair, but no, that is something that I just can't, So how do you feel about it? And what are your thoughts? Do you even care that this is, legislation being passed, or is it something that, it's like, hey, yeah, it's about time. Again, I'm happy that something is happening, and I hope people comply, companies comply with this, and they truly think about it. Because when you think about it, doing that, the discriminatory things like that, everybody suffers, not just black women, not just people of color. Everyone suffers because we have to keep this economy going. People have to work. When people work, they buy in. So you have to think about the big picture. It's like common sense is not so common. I saw that Dove is like really spearheading and part of this entire process. So what I'm going to do is I'll leave the links to the article, and I'll also leave the link to the Dove's website. They have a petition for people to sign so that they can push this through to other states. I believe right now New York and New Jersey is up next. At least that's what I saw on Dove's website. But they have a nice piece on this whole issue. Let's have a conversation, you guys. And until the next video, live simply and be kind.